Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Here we are, made it through another week and another successful week at that. April 12th, 2024. Bring it on, baby. We're back. Pre-market prep session. We're here to do one thing and one thing only, right? And that is get 1% better by the end of this session. And it's important that we, put forth our collective manifested energy toward that. A group of people can be an unstoppable goal, and proclaim that goal, they exclaim that goal, and they put their mental and physical capital toward that goal. That is something that, the universal laws of energy respect, right? Nobody did anything without believing it first. So that's why we start each and every day believing exactly what we're going to do. And then we walk in that vein, right? But you won't do anything that you can't believe that you can do. So that's why each and every day we exclaim why we believe that, right? So good morning, everybody who's in here already. Drop another one in the chat, right? We're doubling down this morning. We want that double helping, and we're coming for it, right? And if you come with that attitude, the world around you respects that. Those people that walk into a room and they have a presence where you might look and say, oh, Adam, how did you go about looking at SPY and saying, okay, this is where we're going to find support. This is where we catch the falling knife, right? And doubling down and saying, oh, I'm still looking at that level. I'm still loving that level. I'm still doubling down on where we are. And then that manifesting, right? That doesn't happen because it's like, oh, like maybe we can know. This is it, right? This is it. I put my energy toward it. I stake my claim and then I go. Right? It was the same thing when I was learning how to do what I do today. Before I knew how to read anything, I was already exclaiming what I was going to be able to do, right? I'm a master of reading SPY. I'm a master of getting engaged on what the market is doing. I'm a master of price action and understanding the battle that's going on between buyers and sellers behind the scenes. Long before I stopped blowing up accounts, right? I had to exclaim that over myself and proclaim that over myself. So it's got to be the same thing in here, right? You don't claim you're that guy once you are that guy. It always happens well before you are that guy, right? So each and every day here, we proclaim that we continue to bring that energy nonstop, because that's where we're at with it, right? That's where we're at with it. We're not playing games. We're getting surgical. Oh, I love that. I had a dream that Oxy shot up $10. Look, and Oxy did shoot up overnight, right? That conscious and subconscious, I love that message, by the way. That conscious and subconscious manifestation is so true. It's so real, right? And a lot of times, even looking back to biblical terms, right? Biblical stories, nobody did anything because it was guaranteed right in front of them, right? Every single miracle that happened, it required faith, right? I mean, again, I've talked about Joseph before. My man's wife literally got spontaneously pregnant, right? And all he was told was to, you know, go to a city and wait for the birth. It's like no one ever gets it spelled out for them. You've got to believe it well before you see it. You've got to proclaim it and walk in it, right? Because a lot of people just wait to walk in what they want for themselves until they see it in front of them. And that's not the case. That's never the case, right? Elon Musk had to walk in what he is now way before he was that guy, right? Way back when he was declaring bankruptcy and probably couldn't even imagine that he would eventually be, the wealthiest person in the world and trading off places at the wealthiest person in the world, right? So that's what we're here to do. Keep that energy up. You are that person, right? But you've got to say you're that person before your, history might record you being that person. You got to stake that claim, stake that flag, and then what happens? Everything around you respects that, right? So I love that. I love the fact that we got people out here dreaming about the markets. We got people out here dreaming into reality, and that gets me excited, right? Excited to finish off this week strong, because we've had a great week and we've had a great month in how we're managing these things, right? And that doesn't mean that it will ever be a time without loss. There will always be loss. There will always be learning situations, but the key is to making sure that you're taking great looks, executing on them, right, and following through. And if you do that more times than not, you're not only going to be perfectly fine, you'll see your account grow and you'll see yourself grow as a person, as I've already seen a lot of you grow when it comes to your analysis, your courage, your execution, your consistency, your account balances, right? All of that making huge, drastic, positive turns. I want to see even more of it going into the future. Now, let's talk about what we got going on today. And let's see if I can pull that up, right? Might give it the good old search. Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome to earnings season, baby. First quarter, right? First quarter earnings season kicking off here today. We've got the coming flood of corporate earnings with big banks ready to kick off the festivities. For investors in the sector, guidance may be almost important as the results, with markets now factoring in fewer rate cuts, if any, for 2024. So that kind of leaves us in a spot where we're really anxious to see what these banks actually do have to say during their earnings season. Quote, higher for longer would support the net interest income of the big banks, but may keep a lid on their businesses tied to mergers and acquisitions and capital markets activity. Now, mark your calendar. Coming up this morning are Q1 earnings from JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. Goldman Sachs will follow Monday with Morgan Stanley and Bank of America releasing quarterly numbers on Tuesday. There's a whole host of regional players, asset managers, credit card companies, and other financial institutions reporting over the next week. And, of course, searching the earnings calendar for next week is how you can see any and all of those that are reporting. But I'll throw a little calendar up on my story as well as we get back into the heat of earnings season, baby. Time for those report cards to come out. Now, many items will be on watch in the coming sessions, even for those not invested in the banking industry. Provisions for credit losses can provide a window into how well banks expect the economy to hold up and will shed light on the viability of commercial real estate, something that's been super, super shaky. Consumer spending will also be in the spotlight, and don't forget comments on the macro situation from some of the biggest CEOs on Wall Street. Ahead of the show, especially when we've got, like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan. We'll likely hear from them. From him, they're reporting this morning, so we'll likely hear something from him. And people always like to kind of parse through what his input has to offer. Let's see here. Ahead of the show, these markets seem to be pricing in a 70 to 80% chance of a soft landing, modest growth, along with declining inflation and interest rates. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon said in his annual letter to shareholders on Monday. Funny that he just got mentioned, hadn't even looked down that far. I believe the odds are a lot lower than that. So he's saying that he thinks it'll be not as soft of a landing, right? And at first we thought it was going to be hard landing, and then it was okay, it'll be soft, and now we're moving, and that pendulum is swinging back. Diamond also pointed to huge fiscal spending, the trillions needed each year for the green economy, the remilitarization of the world, and the restructuring of global trade as contributors to inflation. That's true. As we've gone over inflation the past, 3 years now, there are factors that we can control within this country, and then there are ones that we can't. The remilitarization of the whole world is one of those. The conflict going on in Ukraine, the conflict going on in the Middle East, all of those, right, are things that we cannot directly control. Yeah, there's stuff that the U.S. can do, but I'm not Biden, right? I don't control how many billions are sent to Ukraine or billions are sent to Israel. At the end of the day, that's out of our hands, but we still have to make sure that we're doing what we can on our end to account for those situations. And we're doing exactly that, right? Because we're positioned in the stuff that is going up, right? In terms of price. Oh, these prices are going up. Cool. It's been paying me for 2 months now, right? Oh, the price of this is going up. Nice. I've been banking off that for 4 months now. Like we can only control that. So that's what we focus on, controlling what you can control. And for any, fights that you have outside of that, fight that fight, right? But make sure you're fighting this one first and foremost. A lot of people feel a way about the money sent to Ukraine, this, that, and the third. Make your voice heard, at the polls, right? Write to your local representatives. If you feel a way about Israel, about Gaza, write to your local representatives, send money, to those to whoever, you're supporting, and do it that way, right? But at the end of the day, kind of yelling into the void doesn't really do anything or control anything. You got to put your money where your mouth is, right? And that's really what we're about here within this community, because that's what talks. In terms of outlook news, bot benefits are robots and new technologies taking away jobs from humans. It's a myth, according to Stefano La Rovere, Amazon's director of global robotics. The use of new technologies has created more than 700 new job categories and enhanced over 50,000 jobs across Amazon's fulfillment centers in Europe, including taking away repetitive motions and lifting heavy weights, or helping lift heavy weights. Amazon recently invested another $2.75 billion in startup Anthropic. the AI startup, but not all of its new tech efforts have reached the line, like its plan to buy Roomba maker iRobot due to antitrust concerns. Yeah, it's tough for any of these mergers and acquisitions to go through. We've covered that before. I do think it would be kind of crazy to see iRobot, like knowing that they were Roombas. Like if they had a humanoid iRobot, like that would be um, funny, right? What an evolution of the Roomba. Also, a little bit daunting considering the movie iRobot with Will Smith, and then iRobot being acquired by Amazon, and then possibly creating robots. A little scary. We might need Will Smith to get that slapping hand warmed up. Central banking news, rate cuts ahead. A few members of the ECB's governing council were ready to cut interest rates at yesterday's meeting. ECB President Christine Lagarde declared after the central bank kept its key rate unchanged. However, the council believes it will be appropriate to reduce rates if it's more confident that inflation is moving sustainably to the 2% target, signaling that a June cut is in the cards. As for U.S. inflation remaining stubbornly high, Lagarde said it can't be compared to the Eurozone, adding that the ECB is data dependent, not Fed dependent, and has to focus on its own jurisdiction, which is true. All right, but everybody's kind of trying to figure things out. We had the first major, developed country decide to cut rates. Will we have more to follow? The story remains to be written. But I think we're all, kind of anxiously waiting to see if that ends up being the case. Now, let's see here. Healthcare, drug shortages, 323 medications were in short supply in the U.S. during the first quarter of 2024, marking the highest level on record since the American Society of Health System Pharmacists began tracking the data in 2001. While all drug classes are vulnerable to shortages, some of the most concerning ones are generic sterile injectionable medications or injectable medications, including chemotherapy and emergency drugs. Shortages are largely caused by supply chain disruptions, fierce price competition, and outsized demand. Like in the case of the hugely popular weight loss drugs, here is what the government is trying to do about it. And they have a little ongoing article kind of describing those things. Now, in terms of today's markets, looking like a mixed bag. In Asia, Japan we're up 0.2%, Hong Kong down 2.2, China up, excuse me, down 0.5, India down 1.1. London up 1.1, Paris up 0.8, Frankfurt up 0.8, the Dow down 0.3, S&P down 0.5, NASDAQ down 0.6, crude oil up 1.3%, gold up 1.8, Bitcoin up 0.5, back to above 70K. Today's economic calendar, we get consumer sentiment data at 10 a.m. So that'll be an important little data piece that we get today after the bell. So 10 a.m., make sure you got your reminder set, and be ready for that consumer sentiment data. That'll likely affect how we move today, right? And big money can also use that as the smokescreen to deploy the buying power it was already going to deploy to put in position. In terms of what else is happening, we'll finish with our, rapid fire stock news rundown. New gold rush rally resumes with futures hitting $2,400 an ounce. Keep paying up precious metals. Minneapolis delays rideshare wage hike in boost to Uber and Lyft. Report Morgan Stanley wealth unit probed by federal regulators. Never want to hear that. Boeing, ticker BA, finds executives got extra $500,000 in private jet flights. Yeah, Boeing was looking ugly yesterday. It does look ugly technicals wise, but you guys know I just don't like trading Boeing. I don't like trading Boeing. And I do think that it will drop. And there was put volume coming in to corroborate that, but it's just the only thing that you can really trust to drop is their planes sometimes, and everything else will take its sweet time. Ford, ticker F, cuts F-150 Lightning prices as shipments set to resume. CarMax, ticker KMX, slides after vehicle affordability issues dent results. Skydance to meet with Paramount management next week. Big payouts for big oil. See how much Exxon CEO made in 2023. Congrats to him. Exxon has paid us very nicely as well. Apple to focus M4 chips on AI will allow used parts for iPhone repair. Thought that was old news, the used parts for iPhone repair. We covered that at least 5 months ago. Maybe no, that is for iPhone. I thought it was going to be for MacBook. Yeah, that's definitely old news. I don't know why that's included here. Epic Games seeks reform of Google's App Store in new court filing. So that'll wrap us up and put a bow on it for this beautiful morning, everybody. I'm excited to continue to crush it this week. Let's see what the market has for us. Let's see what consumer sentiment data has for us. Let's continue to push and walk in what we envision ourselves to be so that at one point in time, right, in the future, we don't have to envision it anymore. We're already walking in it, right? The best systems, the best processes do absolutely nothing. And you see this, in the world of consulting as well. And as the load of friends that we have, they're also in this consulting spaces that like you can give people the best tools, but if they don't believe it and they don't speak it, and they don't actually feel in their heart of hearts it's possible, it doesn't get accomplished. Right. So you can be in the best environment, have the best tools, the best this, the best that. You don't believe it and you don't speak it, right? You speak things and that allows you to start believing those things. That's why I confess things over my life every single day, right? Speak the things, believe the things, execute the things. That's how it goes. It's as simple as that. So getting over those hurdles are a lot simpler than you might imagine. Let's continue to do it together. Let's have a great day. Everybody have a great and safe weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.